3 years ago, I stood at the altar without my parents in the audience because they chose to support my sister's divorce instead. Now they want her to be a second mother to my child, as if nothing happened. That was the moment I picked up the phone and called a lawyer. I'm 27 now. Back then, I had just married the love of my life after 4 years of dating. We planned every detail of the wedding ourselves, budgeted, booked, dreamed. But my older sister, Lauren, 30, made it hell from the moment we announced our engagement. Lauren was knee-deep in a nasty divorce at the time. Her husband, Mark, didn't want kids, something she'd known for years, but somehow thought she could change his mind about. Instead of dealing with her own life, she chose to sabotage mine. At first, it was petty. Comments about how I was inconsiderate for planning a happy event during her emotional crisis. I ignored it. Lauren had always been a bit of a drama magnet, the kind of person who could cry her way into center stage at someone else's funeral. Growing up, she was the golden girl. Straight A's, piano recitals, always mom's pride. Me? I was the difficult one, for simply existing with opinions. If Lauren was upset, the whole house shut down until she felt better. So no, I wasn't shocked when she took issue with my wedding. I was shocked when my parents called and asked me to postpone it. Yep. They actually said, it would be more compassionate to reschedule. Lauren's going through a lot right now. At first I laughed. Literally laughed. I thought it was a bad joke. But when I realized they were serious, my stomach dropped. We've already paid for the venue. The invites are out. We're not moving the date because Lauren's marriage didn't work out, I told them. That's when the mask came off. You're being selfish, my mom hissed. Family should come first. Funny, seemed like that principle only applied to me. I gave them an ultimatum. Support me or don't come. But I'm not changing anything. They chose not to come. The week after that felt like standing in the middle of a house fire, trying to explain to people why I wasn't the one holding the matches. Lauren started spreading rumors, saying I was parading my wedding around to rub it in her face. Then she claimed I'd encouraged her husband to leave her. According to her, I was jealous she'd get to be a mom before I did. For the record, I'd spoken to Mark maybe 5 times. Ever. But she said it with such conviction that some of our family believed her. Cousins blocked me without a word. One uncle called to ask, "Did you really tell Mark to leave?" By the time the wedding rolled around, I had empty seats where half my family should have been. I smiled through it, but it burned. My friends and my husband's family showed up in full force, thank God. They danced, laughed, cheered. And for a while, I forgot about the hurt. But after that day, I cut off Lauren and my parents completely. No birthdays, no calls, no Christmas cards. They didn't just skip my wedding, they lit it on fire, handed Lauren the gasoline, and blamed me for the smoke. 3 years later, life was finally peaceful. My husband and I were in a good place, and recently, we announced the best news of our lives. We're expecting our first child. That joy lasted less than 12 hours. Because that's when my phone rang. It was my mom. For the first time in 3 years. She started with fake cheer. "Congratulations, honey! We're so happy for you!" But I knew something was coming. And then came the real reason for her call. "Lauren's been trying to have a baby too, but it's not working. The IVF failed. She's devastated. We believe it would be healing for her to be involved with your baby. As you know, a second mother figure." I wish I could tell you I laughed. But I just sat there in stunned silence, the air knocked out of me. A woman who hadn't spoken to me in years, who missed my wedding and helped spread lies about me, now wanted a front row seat in my child's life. Worse, she wanted Lauren to co-mother. "It would be good for the baby," she said, "to have 2 strong women guiding them." I told her no. Flat. Cold. Firm. My mom tried guilt-tripping me. Said Lauren needed this. That it would be cruel to exclude her. Cruel? I told her that if they gave a damn about me, or my child, They wouldn't have waited 3 years and a positive pregnancy test to speak to me. I hung up before I said something I couldn't take back. But they didn't stop there. After I hung up on my mom, I thought that might be the end of it. Naive, I know. I should have remembered who I was dealing with, people who see guilt not as a consequence but a strategy. 2 days later, my dad called. His tone was rehearsed, calm, like he was trying to sell me life insurance. "We think this could be a beautiful chance to reconnect," he said. "Lauren just wants to help. That's all." Help? Like how she helped? By telling the family I seduced her husband? He kept pushing. "She doesn't want to replace you. She just wants to be involved, maybe help out with babysitting. Give you a break. That's all." I told him the same thing I told my mother: absolutely not. I wasn't falling for their rebranding of emotional theft as family healing. I wasn't about to let Lauren sink her claws into a new narrative, this time as some nurturing martyr desperate to mother my child. I had seen what her version of support looked like: sabotage wrapped in sugar. But that wasn't the worst part. It came when Lauren texted me directly. No hey or I miss you. Just a wall of text that read like a hostage negotiation demand. I deserve to be a part of this baby's life. You don't get to gatekeep family. You've always been selfish, and it's disgusting that you'd rob me of the one thing I can have. She called me cruel. She said I owed her a chance to feel motherhood. I blocked her immediately. My husband offered to step in, to call my parents and tell them to back off. I told him no, I wanted them to hear it from me if they tried again. And they did. Just a few days later they called again. This time both of them. On speakerphone. I didn't even say hello. My mom got right to the point. "Honey, don't do this. Lauren's been through enough." I was standing in our baby's future nursery when she said that. Surrounded by unopened boxes and tiny onesies still in their packaging. I stared at a mobile we'd picked out together, shaped like stars and moons, and felt something inside me snap. "Enough?" I said. She ruined my wedding. She told people I broke up her marriage. She erased me from the family. And now, you want to hand her my child like a consolation prize? My mom didn't deny it. She just went quiet. Then, in that same eerie tone she used when she used to say, "You're overreacting," she said, "This baby could be the bridge." A bridge? She wanted my child to repair Lauren. That's when I stopped speaking softly. I made it crystal clear: if they contacted me again about this, if they even mentioned Lauren's name, they'd be blocked for good. And I meant it. Still, the next week, I found out they had messaged my husband's family. Emily, sorry, Lauren, had written a novella to my mother-in-law. Said she missed her niece or nephew already. And that I was keeping her from healing. My parents had followed up with messages of their own, trying to convince my in-laws to intervene. My mother-in-law didn't even blink. She called me, read the messages aloud, then said, "We'll block them on our end too. You don't need this." But by then I knew this wasn't about family anymore. This was obsession. Lauren didn't just want to be involved, she wanted to rewrite the story again. She had wrecked her marriage by secretly going off birth control and trying to baby trap her husband, something I wouldn't know until later. When that blew up, she made me the villain. Now that she couldn't have a baby, she wanted to latch onto mine like some twisted do-over. And my parents? They were willing to play along. Again. At that point, I contacted a lawyer. I didn't think it would get that far, but I needed to know my rights. I drafted a cease and desist letter and had it delivered to all three of them. I thought maybe, it would end there. But I underestimated Lauren's capacity for denial. Because what came next turned everything upside down. It happened by pure accident, one of those random, forgettable afternoons that ends up changing your whole life. My husband and I had just grabbed lunch at this little cafe we'd never been to before. Halfway through my iced tea, he leaned in and whispered, "Don't look now, but isn't that Lauren's ex?" I looked. And there he was, Jack, The ghost from Lauren's conveniently edited backstory, sitting 3 tables over, laughing with coworkers like he hadn't once been the supposed villain who abandoned her during infertility. I hadn't seen him in years. But before I could decide whether to wave or pretend I hadn't noticed him, Jack caught my eye and stood up. "Hey," he said, warm but cautious, like he wasn't sure if I'd slap him or hug him. "It's been a while." We chatted for a minute. I congratulated him on his new job. He'd moved to Texas after the divorce but recently returned. Then he said something that made my fork freeze midair. "I still can't believe Lauren didn't go to your wedding. She told me she helped plan the whole thing." I blinked. "She told you what?" Jack looked genuinely confused. "Yeah. Said you asked her to help with vendors and stuff. That she was so overwhelmed being in the middle of everything that she had to push our mediation back." I nearly choked on my food. "Jack," I said carefully, "Lauren didn't just skip my wedding. She tried to destroy it. She told the entire family that I encouraged you to leave her." His mouth fell open. We spent the next 30 minutes exchanging notes, like 2 people comparing maps of the same war from different sides of the battlefield. And the story he told? It obliterated everything I thought I knew. See, Lauren had always told people the divorce happened because Jack never wanted kids. That he tricked her, led her on. She turned herself into a fertility martyr, abandoned by a man too cold to compromise. But Jack? Jack had changed his mind. He told me, with this sad, exhausted smile, "I loved her. I didn't want kids at first, but I was willing to talk about it if it meant saving the marriage." So he sat her down one night, ready to open the door. And that's when Lauren dropped her real bombshell. She told him, smiling, even laughing, that she'd already stopped taking her birth control months ago. That she'd been trying to get pregnant without telling him. Jack said it felt like being stabbed by someone you trusted with your life. Not just because of the betrayal, but because she stole his ability to choose. She said she figured if it happened naturally, I'd come around. He told me. Like it was a game. She thought I'd be trapped and just stay. That was it for him. He filed for divorce the next week. I sat there in silence as the pieces rearranged in my head. Everything Lauren had done, the jealousy, the rumors, the sabotage, it all suddenly made horrifying sense. She wasn't just lashing out. She was trying to control the narrative. She needed someone to blame because the truth, that she'd lied, manipulated, and tried to force motherhood on someone without consent, would shatter her precious image. And what better scapegoat than the younger sister getting married while she was losing everything? That lunch changed me. It burned away the last traces of guilt I'd been carrying. For 3 years, I'd wondered if I'd overreacted by cutting her off. If I should have let it go. But now I knew I hadn't just been the collateral damage. I was her cover story. I thought about going public, telling the family everything. But I didn't. Not yet. I had something better, the truth. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't afraid of using it. Because Lauren hadn't just hurt me. She had built a throne out of lies. And I was finally ready to pull the whole thing down. I tried to stay quiet. I really did. After that conversation with Jack, I told myself it was enough to know that the truth, even if hidden, had power. I could move on, raise my baby, and keep the toxic noise out of my life. But then Lauren logged into Facebook. It started with something subtle, one of those vague posts meant to stab someone in the back while pretending to be deep. Some people don't understand the meaning of forgiveness. It's sad when family lets you down. She didn't name me, but come on. The comments poured in. You're so strong, girl. Whoever hurt you didn't deserve you. Family's the worst sometimes. I let it slide. Then came post number 2. It's hard to be happy for someone who always tried to ruin your life. Still, I stayed quiet. But when she wrote, some people are so selfish they won't even share their blessings with those who need them more, I nearly threw my phone across the room. That blessing was my unborn baby. The one she now believed she was entitled to. What made it worse? My mother joined in. She wrote her own status. It's heartbreaking to see one child completely abandon her sister's pain. Family used to mean something. That line made my stomach turn. For 3 years, they ignored my pain. My wedding. My pregnancy. My existence. But now they wanted to parade their victimhood like it was performance art. And guess what? It worked. Family members I hadn't heard from in years started calling. One cousin messaged, "Why can't you just make peace with Lauren? She's hurting." They decided I was the villain, without ever asking for my side. That's when I snapped. I didn't want revenge. I wanted truth. I was done letting her script the story like she was the heroine, and I was the jealous, bitter footnote. So I called Jack. I explained everything. How Lauren was trying to push her way into my child's life. How she was framing me as the villain online. How she was manipulating people again. He didn't hesitate. "Say what you need to say," he told me. "I'll back you up." So I made a post. A long one. I laid it all out. How Lauren destroyed my wedding. How my parents backed her up. How they tried to guilt me into letting her co-mother my baby after 3 years of silence. How they sent messages to my husband's family behind my back. And then I dropped the real story behind her divorce. I wrote, "For years, Lauren told everyone her marriage ended because her husband didn't want kids. But the truth is, he changed his mind. He was ready. And the night he sat down to talk about having children, she told him she had already stopped taking birth control. She tried to trap him. She lied to him. That's why he left." I attached screenshots, with Jack's permission, of their messages. Dates. His statement. And I ended with, "If you still think I'm the problem, that's on you. But I won't let my child grow up surrounded by this poison." Then I hit post. And the fallout was nuclear. My phone didn't stop buzzing for hours. Some relatives messaged me privately, stunned. Apologizing. Saying they had no idea. Others doubled down, saying I was airing family business and kicking Lauren while she was down. Lauren? She went silent for 2 full days. Then she posted a selfie with a caption. "When people lie about you, it says more about them than it does about you. Stay strong. Stay pure." My parents backed her up. We just want peace in this family. We never expected our daughter to be so harsh. I didn't reply. I didn't have to. The truth was already out there. And they didn't know how to spin it. I kept the post up for 5 days. Then I deleted it, not because I regretted anything, but because I didn't want their shadows polluting my timeline. For the first time in years I felt calm. Let them talk. Let them twist. Because when you rip away the curtain, people finally see the show for what it is. And this one? It had a cast of liars, and one very tired woman who was finally done playing nice. After the social media post exploded, I thought that was it. I'd told the truth. I'd stood my ground. I figured they'd finally back off, crawl back under whatever rock they'd been hiding under before my pregnancy announcement brought them scurrying out again. But people like Lauren don't retreat. They regroup. A few weeks passed. Quiet ones, eerily so. Then my pregnancy updates, simple stuff, like nursery photos or bump pics, started getting weird comments from accounts with no names or profile pictures. Some babies deserve more than just one mother. Hope you're ready. Some people don't forget. It's sad when you forget what family means. At first, I thought they were trolls. But something about them felt targeted. Too specific. Too familiar. Then came the one that made my blood run cold. "You shouldn't be raising a child. Someone should step in before it's too late." I deleted it. Blocked the account. But that chill didn't leave me. The next morning my landlord called. Apparently someone had called pretending to be me. Asked if I was planning to move out. Then my sister offered to help with the paperwork to make the transition easier. I nearly dropped the phone. Thankfully, my landlord was suspicious, he didn't buy it. But the fact that Lauren had actually tried to interfere with my housing was terrifying. That wasn't just boundary pushing. That was stalking adjacent. I called my parents. I don't know why. Maybe I hoped they'd deny it. Maybe I wanted to believe I was wrong. I wasn't. My mother said, and I quote, "Lauren was just trying to help. She thought you need more space for the baby." More space? By impersonating me to my landlord? I lost it. Told them both to back the hell off. My dad tried the old peacekeeper tone. "She's just excited about the baby. Can't you let her be involved?" I hung up. But it wasn't over. The final straw came from my husband's mom. She called me confused one afternoon because Lauren had sent her a long, emotional Facebook message. It painted me as a cold, jealous daughter who had cut her loving sister out. Without reason. She begged my mother-in-law to intervene. Said my baby deserved to know their whole family. That's when the switch flipped inside me. She had ignored me, slandered me, emotionally abused me, and now she was dragging my husband's family into this circus. I went full protection mode. I contacted the lawyer I'd spoken to weeks earlier and filed a police report, one for the landlord impersonation, and one for the threatening messages. I had proof, screenshots, timestamps, call logs. I wanted something on record. I wasn't taking any more chances. Then I had a cease and desist letter sent to all three of them, Lauren, my mom, and my dad. It was clear, firm, and legally binding. If they continued to contact me, harass my family, or attempt to interfere in my life, I would pursue a restraining order. That's when the meltdown began. My mom called me sobbing. "How could you do this to your own family?" Lauren sent a long, unhinged email. "You're depriving me of motherhood. You're being cruel. I need to be in this baby's life. That's my blood too." That line made my skin crawl. Like she saw my baby as a prop in her redemption arc. A do-over for all the motherhood she'd fumbled and lost. My dad chimed in too. "This is tearing the family apart. You've made your point. Can't we just move on?" I told him we could have moved on the moment they chose to show basic respect. But instead they doubled down on the drama. Over and over again. Now? I felt nothing. Not guilt. Not sadness. Just relief. I changed my phone number. Made all my social media private. Warned my landlord and workplace. And yes, we installed security cameras. Just in case. That night, as I sat next to my husband, hand on my belly, I realized I finally felt peace. It had taken years, but I had done what no one in my family ever taught me to do. Protect myself. And now, I was protecting someone even more important, my child. This baby will never grow up confused about who they can trust. They will never feel like love has to be earned by tolerating abuse. They will never wonder why mom kept giving chances to people who broke her again and again. This is the end of the story for Lauren. But the beginning of a better one for me.